welcome to, the show. We have someone here that it is my first time meeting, but most of you know her. Um, Hold on one second. Sorry. Okay, we're all good. Nan, hello, welcome to the show. I am so happy to have you here.
Hi, it's great to be here, Lacey. I've been looking forward to it. Thanks for being so patient with me.
Absolutely. Same. We were just talking, you guys, about how crazy of a week it's been. I've had my own stuff going on, and I know that Nan is busy as can be. So this is so exciting to be able to have her here and to have you guys here. If you wouldn't mind, go ahead and hit like and subscribe regardless rather where you are watching from. If you are on my YouTube, as you will see, it's a baby YouTube. I've had it for years and years and years, but I just kind of started utilizing it. And if you are watching on X, please make sure to follow Nan at Lawferio. So it's LAWFERIO. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay. And then yeah, Lacey J Meeks. I had no worries about, doxing myself when I created this in 2008, and it's just like it's not worth even trying to hide at this point. So
No. And
I know who I am. Come find me, and you'll have to deal with our system that we defend ourselves here with. But
oh, I know. And when I entered this scene, I was like, should I just create some random handle and start barking out legal opinions? And to me, it lends credibility if I just put myself out there. So I am Lawferio, but everyone knows me as Nan Gallagher. And you have to be willing to face the challenges and the compliments in this world. It's a jungle, but I'm getting used to it.
I'm so happy you mentioned that because it, especially right when you jump in, you are like taken aback by the criticisms, the everything that comes your way. Like it's sometimes it's welcome, sometimes it's unwelcome, and it was really difficult for me at first. I'm not going to lie. It was really challenging. And as time went on, I just I I guess I don't know. I gained some balls.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that comes to mind, and I I just decided to stop like focusing on, you know, what was being said negatively. And um, sometimes I'll think about it and wonder like, am I doing this right? Is this person right or wrong? But you can only use your downfalls as opportunities to grow. And same with the really good times. Like now you know what to do better of. So
Right.
yeah, so I'm glad that you're catching on to that because it can be a little vicious out there. But
Oh, absolutely, Lacey. It's unbelievable. And especially as a woman, I mean, I hate to kind of divide this by
no,
gender, but especially in our fields where you and I and others are
yeah,
outspoken females who have strong and informed decisions. Many times the haters or those who are afraid to hear those opinions decide that they're going to resort to personal attacks to try to undermine the sensibility of our opinions. And that was really hard for me. I've always faced, and I'm sure every woman has faced, criticism over very superficial things in their lives, throughout their lives. And I see it. I'm raising a young daughter, and I have a son as well, but I'm raising a young daughter and I'm trying to teach her how to comport herself on social media, which she hasn't had permission to use yet, prepare her ahead of time.
problem.
and to have, just exposure to even things where you wouldn't think children might see these influences, like, on YouTube, suddenly they're looking at these reels and these shorts, and they're learning how to make or to apply makeup and how to dress properly for their body shapes. It's so awful. And then to come into this scene, which really was kind of intentional on my part and unintentional, which I'm happy to describe. But to enter this scene, which was a volatile environment in the first place, with legal opinions, which are just, they're no better than all of the Karen Reed movement opinions. Are just, I have a different education than some.
Right.
And, I consider myself on even footing with everyone who's experienced what's going on. And to enter this scene and then to just face criticism of, oh, we don't like how she wears her hair or her makeup, or she's overweight or she's underweight, or, it's vicious. And
It's
I
awful.
cared for about maybe a minute. And then I said, that's it. I'm going to just try to reverse it and flip the narrative. And I would be lying if I said I'm completely immune to it. It gets to me, but I just use it to fuel me and to have me speak louder. And to anyone who's male or female who is facing criticism and challenges for non ideological reasons and illogical reasons in this fight, I would encourage all of you to stand your ground, because that's exactly what the challengers are hoping to do. And all you're doing when you give in to that is to just fuel their fire and feed the beast. And that's not what this the Free Karen Reed movement is all about. And frankly, any matter that you feel like you want to stand up on. So I feel very passionately about that. I give a lot of motivational presentations each year to large bodies of clients and potential clients on this very subject. So it's very near and dear to my heart.
I love to hear that. And so I've owned a business for, oh my gosh, it seems like a million years at this point. I believe 2018. And I'm very blessed in the sense that my CEO really instilled the belief that there is enough out there for everyone, and how important it is to lift up other women.
Yeah.
And I I've been able to take that into not only social media, but more specifically, rather, Karen Reed movement. And I, I really try to, give people the grace that they need, because you never know what someone's going through, right?
Right.
And like, you never know if someone is taking out their bad day on you, or maybe you say something that just doesn't really jive with them. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't. I never will you ever, especially on the Karen Reed side, see me like go after someone. Um, if I feel like I have to, I will address it like privately. But
Right.
I just, it's those sort of things that I think we all need to be considerate of, because the anti Karen Reed side is like, they're loving every moment of
Right.
controversy and, stirring the shit pot, so to speak. Like, they feed off of this. So it's really important to keep that in mind, for anyone watching. But yeah, women, I feel like, sorry guys, I feel like we do have to build each other up, and we need to. I always try to behave the way I would want to behave if my parents were watching, and they are. So I am who I am. I am Carl and Dolores. So
Hey, Carl. Hey, Dolores. Way to support your daughter. That's awesome. But
Yeah.
that's a great model, Lacey. You have to always comport yourself like mom and dad are watching. And I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
No.
it reminds me of an important part of this whole movement, which is and I happened to stumble into some personal experience on it in terms of Bill and Janet Reed. And
Oh, yeah.
with regard, I happened to meet her parents last week when I was up by surprise in Massachusetts. I had been invited by Karen and her parents to come attend court, and I decided to make a little bit more of an experience out of it and stand boots on the ground and go to some of the more specific locations that I wanted to take a look at. And I had an opportunity not only to have a few conversations with her parents by phone beforehand, and then to meet them in person, have a few conversations with them in person, as well as Karen. But most specifically with regard to her parents, they are fiercely supportive and fiercely protective of their daughter. But most importantly, what I really tended to take away from my experiences and conversations with them is that her parents raised a daughter who would have had the courage and integrity and honor to admit if she had done something that she's being accused of and to face the music. And I can tell even from my several conversations directly with Karen, and by no means are we besties, but she's a very busy woman with a lot on her plate.
Oh, yeah.
But in my few conversations with her, I can tell that she feels that she's a bit of a burden to them and worries about them. So, that was my takeaway. And as when I consider the fact that, if my parents were still alive, and unfortunately they both passed within a few short months of each other.
I'm so sorry. That I hate when that happens.
Thank you. Yeah, a couple of years ago, within 10 months, both my parents passed.
Yep.
And it was a hard time, but I always had the most supportive parents who were I'm the only lawyer in my entire family, and they were very, very supportive of me. And when I think about all of the years that they had my back and then used to really instill upon me the ability to relate to people and to have just integrity. Like if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. If I have someone in my life who's struggling, I'm going to be there to support them as best I can and as best they need.
Yeah.
And I live my life the same way you do, which is that model. What would my mom and dad expect of me? And that not to be morbid, Lacey, but that will carry over past your parents' eventual passing, which to your parents, it's going to happen someday. So,
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I'm the only child. So,
yeah. But you know what? Like we live each day like it's our last. And that is one of the reasons I decided to get involved in the movement, because I was seeing what was going on for the last 3 years, and I knew I had at least some knowledge base and maybe a little bit of chutzpah to help get some messaging out there. And that's why I've been really fortunate that creators like you and others have invited me onto their streams to just have real conversations about anything concerning this. Whether it's the legal mumbo jumbo that maybe the average layperson doesn't understand, or if it's the emotional toll that I saw that it takes upon boots on the ground and the family and the lawyers involved, or if it's simply just giving my own personal insights as to what I think happened, keep showing up, which I kind of didn't mean for that to turn into a little bit of a catchphrase. I think it actually, that saying derives from like Alcoholics Anonymous. Someone had asked me that. They said, yeah, I don't know. I mean, anyone who knows me knows I'm not much of a drinker. And when I even try, it's pathetic. For personal reference, you should watch my first stream with the Glarer. Yes, I had my first cocktail in a long time, and I got a little intoxicated. But anyway, PSA, maybe don't do that when you're live streaming with
Uh,
someone. But, when I think about it, I say to myself, you know, we're all here to keep showing up in whatever manner that we do that. And my role is, I'm just a little asterisk here. I'm just a little footnote. I try to meet all the creators who invite me just to kind of understand them and their motivations and their audiences and see what resonates. So I'm really so happy to be here, and I'm really, really proud of you for just putting yourself out there. You're really going to grow and hopefully shine through all of this.
well, thank you. I have definitely grown, girlfriend. I have
Yeah.
definitely grown. Like I'm able to say that. And my parents are like, "Aren't you worried about all these people who know your business?" And I'm like, "No, I don't know why, because I am me. I am being the most authentic version of myself, and I come in here and I try to make it a more positive, fulfilling experience. Now there's a stupid anti Karen Reed lady that like is on my very last nerve, and I'm not even going to give her the energy to say her name,
The
but
oxygen, right?
I literally, that is like the only person I've been mean to on like the anti side and women's side, but she knows better.
Come
I
on, Lacey. You can give it to her. No, I'm kidding. But honestly though, they're so, like, to me that tells me everything I need to know about them. If and my first appearance, which was every bit of a month ago, on any stream, which was the Young Jerks with Mike Crawford, and he was nice enough to invite me, and I consider him an old friend at this point. And on that stream, I was extremely nervous, but I tried to just state very diplomatically, to lay it all out there and level the playing field and simply say, to the other side, I don't like to say the word trolls, but to the other side, the opponents of the Free Karen Reed movement, I respect you, or I don't have an issue with you. You should respect my opinions. I'll respect yours. Let's be respectful, and we can coexist together. And, from minute one, it was ripping me apart, ripping my opinions, my experience, claiming I don't have legal knowledge in criminal defense, which is false, and vastly false. And it just deteriorated from there. And not one of these individuals, which is actually a small group. I think a lot of people think that the other side is this big number, and it's really
not
not.
at all.
And
No.
that doesn't mean that they're that they're wrong because there's only a few of them, but they are wrong because she's factually innocent. But
Absolutely.
when these individuals all come at me, and it's been coming in waves, some of it I bring upon myself, I admit it. But when they come at me, nothing is factual, nothing is law driven.
It's emotional.
It is.
It's emotional.
And that, like, when I deal with people like that in my personal and my professional life, I can't relate to that. We're all emotional beings, but for someone who is facing jail time of such a significant nature, having to undergo such a financial hardship and a reputational hit as Karen has, in the face of some really disturbing legal decisions and behavior of what I call brothers and sisters of mine in the court, officers of the court, fellow counsel, I say to myself, this is really offensive to me, that the best these opponents can come with is, vitriol.
Yeah.
Meet me intellectually and we'll have a great chat. Now, I do know that brother counsel, who's another streamer, he has another channel. He tried to meet with two of them, and they had a relatively respectful discussion about a month ago.
Yep.
But even, and I don't know if you saw that, Lacey, but
I
those,
did.
yeah, and those who saw it kind of said, it was like two people, and it was really three, but two sides talking past each other. They weren't really hitting the critical key issues that underlie the whole issue, which is reasonable doubt, the charges levied against her. I happen to see, and I'm sure you have too, that at least a few short minutes before your show started, it looks like the federal habeas corpus petition was denied. I haven't read it yet.
Me neither.
Yeah, but it's there. I will look at it. But as far if it hits over 20 pages, it doesn't get real-time review by me. I have to review it a little later. But when I look at all of these adverse decisions that are coming down, I feel like I just have to do more. And I think you feel that way too.
I do.
And I'm sure your followers do. So, we just got to keep showing up and keep the messaging out there.
I love that you mentioned that. Do you ever put motions into Chat GPT and ask for a summary?
I have heard that it's done. I haven't done it yet. I'm still learning tech. I have used Chat GPT, and there's another comparable one for lawyers, which is a little bit better. But I should do that. Does that work for you?
Yeah, it works really well. I mean, like, you need to be able to read between the lines. So
Yeah.
like it's important. And if you can't, then you need to tell Chat GPT, hey, I know I do not have a law degree. Like, I would love
Break
you,
it down. Yeah.
yes, like a lay person. And it's really helpful. So there's a tip for everyone.
Oh, that's good. I'm going to try that. I used
Yeah,
ChatGPT to just as an experiment to do a contract the other day, which I obviously know how to do contracts to
right.
any opponents watching. But I'm like, let me see how this worked, and it did a pretty good job. So, for
Yeah.
me, yeah, I was like, this isn't bad. But I didn't use the product that it created because I did not ethically feel that was appropriate for me to give to my client as a work product. They pay me a certain hourly rate. They expect me to apply 25 years of experience in my field. So I kind of said, okay, let me see it. It looked good. And then I moved along because, I can do it better. I can do it better than AI, and all of us can. But AI is a wonderful tool.
Yeah.
And I've seen people AI almost everything in the Karen Reed case, and it's so amazing some of the information that comes out there. And it's pretty, if you run the right search in Chat GPT for different issues, you can get a really good summation
Yes.
of all the issues, the tangential issues like Aiden Turtle Boy.
Yeah.
And
I have a really good one from him as well. Yeah. Like,
yeah, like it's a little frightening actually
yeah.
now that you think about it.
So I have I think I have a lot of followers on Pinterest. I used Pinterest right when it came out, and I still use it. Like, I used it last night. I use it like on a daily basis. And so I have a lot of followers on there, and I have my own thing that says um ways how to use Chat GPT to be most effective, like whether it's
Yeah.
for business, personal, et cetera, et cetera. And I have like, if you guys want to follow me on Pinterest, and if you haven't done so already, I know we have a lot of Nan fans here. So
Do you?
I would love it if I could earn your follow, whether it be on X or on YouTube, and vice versa for Nan. She's an
Aw.
absolutely lovely person. We've had this scheduled for, I want to say, like a month.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
No, I think I was the one that threw that date out because I needed some time. But yeah, I have quite a bit of followers on Pinterest, and go figure, I'm the same name on Pinterest as I am on X, which is Lacey Jane Meeks. So there's no denying it's me. So let me I think this is really this sort of chat is really helpful. I I'm bummed that I only have 2 hours with you because I think more people need to hear it.
Aw.
And I think that there's a lot of people who would benefit from it, you know? And that just goes into what I was saying earlier. Like I truly just want the best for people, even the people who I'm not their cup of tea. But if 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 someone is to take away something from this, I hope it's that we can be better. We can always be better. We can be kinder with our words. We can be more intentional with our words and with our decision making.
Oh, yeah.
And we have people that look at us and trust us as sources, and as people who are willing to put themselves out there, kind of like we were talking about earlier. Like everyone knows who I am. There's no denying that at that point. I don't even have I have one fake account, and all my friends know it. I'm pretty sure all the trolls know it too.
Oh my God.
And
Why do you have it? Why do you have a fake one?
I use it to go into one space and not have people from Karen Reed follow me, because my friend will kick them out immediately.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I like that.
It's like my friend who's Jewish, and she's like, I don't have time for this shit. I don't know. I
She
don't know
sounds like
them.
me.
I don't know them. I don't need to know them. I want them out of here. They're gone.
She sounds like me. By the way, where are you from? I mean, I'm not doxing you, but where are you
No.
from?
I mean, I'm out there. I'm Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, nice. Nice. My former assistant was from Columbus.
Oh, really?
Went to
Yes.
the Ohio State University and
I'm
everything.
sure she always said that too. It's
Yeah,
the thing. I went to Ohio University, so
very nice.
but my parents laid down the law, and they were like, "You are not going to OSU. You need to go at least an hour away."
Good.
And I I highly recommend that. I mean, everyone has what works for them, but I think that was a really great piece of advice that my parents laid down the law on.
I
So
think so too.
yeah.
I think so. And I grew up in the Bronx, New York originally, and then moved to
Really?
New Jersey. And with when I hit so when I went all the way through high school, and I knew I wanted to be a lawyer, and when I was selecting, let's see, wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. When I knew I wanted to go to college, I wanted to go back to the Bronx for college to Fordham University. And my parents, who knew that it really was not so safe of an urban area
But that's a good
anymore.
school.
It is a great school.
Yeah, that's a really good school.
And it would have been a good stepping stone for me for law school, because I originally wanted to go to Fordham Law School. So I said to my parents, I want to go to Fordham undergrad. And they were like, absolutely not. It's not safe. Now, at the time, it would have been about 45 minutes away from my home, but I knew I wanted to live on a campus. I did not want to commute to school, whatever school it was.
Yes.
And my parents, they challenged me, and they said, we'll only let you go to Fordham if you get a full ride. So I did.
Same with me. Same with me.
I said, okay. Now I don't want to make it sound like I'm this like tremendous student. I was a good student. I did very well in school, but my motivations were a little selfish. I was in a long-term relationship with a boyfriend back home, so I didn't want to be too far from him. And I also had 2 jobs that I had at home that I did not want to quit. So I used to come home on the weekends from Fordham and stay at home, spend time with my family and my boyfriend, and work my 2 jobs and then go back. In retrospect, it was the best thing I ever did, because I ended up staying out of harm's way with, lots of parties and drinking activities that would not have been a healthy environment for me. Plus concrete jungle of the Bronx, not so safe. I mean, my parents were right. But I also was able to make a lot of money while still working through college, which most kids don't do, or young adults don't do. They typically don't work during their school year. So I ended up having a lot of money saved in advance of law school, thinking I got to pay for tuition somehow. But then I ended up getting a full ride to law school too.
Wow. Isn't that great? Like I had a full ride for my undergrad. And then what I should have done is right after I got my bachelor's is go straight to master's, like getting my master's.
Smart.
But I had a boyfriend who lived in Cleveland, and I was determined to graduate school early and to go to Cleveland to be with him. So I made the dumbest decision of my life. I graduated my undergrad a year early, even though I had a full ride. I could have stayed and milked it up because
Right.
I loved school. So first mistake. And then I waited like 4 years to go to graduate school. And with my scholarship, it would only pay for 2 of those years because I had it for so many years. So I knew when I was ready. I wasn't ready on their schedule.
Right.
So I had my full ride for my graduate degree only took 2 years, so it was 1 year. So I apologize.
That's okay.
But yeah, I ended up having to pay for that 1 extra year, and it was worth it to me because I went when I knew that I was better off to go. I already had a stable job. I lived in a great apartment downtown, and got rid of that nasty boyfriend. Still love Cleveland though. Still love Cleveland.
Yeah. Great.
And now I'm married to a Pittsburgh guy, which is awful. Let me just tell you guys, we don't get along on anything.
Oh, no way. That's a marriage made in hell as far as I'm concerned. But no, I get it.
Cleveland and the Squealers. I can't handle it. We're big football people in this house. So
yeah.
Anyways.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
What brought you to the Karen Reed case?
And by we, I mean, my husband's on the other side of this wall, so I know he's listening. And I've been asked this so much recently, and I've looked at him and he's like, I don't remember either. I think I stay really in tune with true crime. I've been very personally impacted by it in the sense that I have friends who have their own Datelines Netflix series.
Yep.
And one of those people, I'm holding on to her as my, like, I want to boost some of my viewership, kind of like
right.
speakers, because I know she'll bring in a crazy amount of people. But seeing what my friends have gone through, and having always been the person, I think it's weird because I'm the only child. I was really into like unsolved mysteries. Sorry, Aiden. And then the people in the chat, if you know, you know. And then Rescue 911.
Yep.
Dateline. I never watched cartoons. That was never my thing. So I was always really into like this genre, and
yeah,
I saw it getting taken over, and I was like, there are so many people consuming it in a very unhealthy way. And in that sense, it is my judgment that unhealthy way was not helpful for the families impacted, or the people, or the communities. And so when I started to do this, as in the show, I was like, you know what, I'm going to make sure that my purpose is clear, that I believe in an ethical approach to true crime. And, if we can be advocates, if we can prevent these sort of
Mhm.
things from happening, or just better equip people on how to handle situations moving forward.
Right.
That's kind of where I came from. And I was like, I'm going to focus on the Karen Reed case, because I have never felt in my life so in enraged,
Mhm.
um, challenged. I'm trying to keep I'm trying to keep on track with what's not emotional, because this is when the tears start to come.
Oh,
And like, I am so upset with what has happened, and the way that the justice system has represented itself in her case. Um,
yeah. It's failed her. It
it absolutely has. And our house is a very pro back the blue house.
wow.
So when people hear that I'm like free Karen Reed, I make sure to always say, like, we are very supportive of law enforcement. I have never seen the shit show going on over there that is going on over, like, that is just
Yeah.
normal. That is not normal, and they need to be called out on it. So
It's sorry to interrupt you, Lacey, but I find that really resonates with me because I think one of the common misconceptions in the Karen Reed matter is that um, the opponents to the Karen Reed movement, they tend to think that if you are in support of Karen Reed and all of the injustice that she's been facing, that you then can't be in support of justice for Officer John O'Keefe. They'll say
mhm,
things like he's getting lost in the messaging, which he's not. But then they'll also go as far as saying things like, well, you must be anti-police in general. And, that's
bullshit.
not true either. I both, what is this saying? Both things can be true.
Yes,
And
my lawyer friend said that to me the other day. I can't believe you just said that.
yeah, and I only learned or heard of that saying maybe within the last 2 years, and it really sticks with me in some instances, and this is one of them, because I actually believe that you can be supportive or back the blue and think that Karen Reed is being railroaded and not being afforded proper due process
100%.
throughout her entire trial 1.0 and soon to be trial 2.0. And I feel that throughout all of it is the underpinning of Officer for John O'Keefe because, it's so logical to me and I respect everyone's opinion if it's respectful too. But to me it's so logical that if she's convicted, John O'Keefe doesn't get his justice. And if she's not convicted, he still really doesn't get his justice. I mean, the man has lost his life. He's missed out on personal achievements and benchmarks. He missed out on his niece and nephew, for whom he was the primary caregiver and guardian. The years left with his parents, the years left with his brother, the years left working, doing wonderful things for the Boston Police Department. So he's never fully ever going to receive full justice. But, you know, I support police who are ethical and honorable. I support police who do thorough, commonsensical, at a minimum, investigations. And I also firmly believe that Karen Reed did not do what she's being alleged to have done and is 100% factually innocent. And all of those things can be true. So it must be tough living in a very back the blue home. I mean, I can't say my home is a back the blue home. I mean, I'm a blue wall in the back home, but I'm not a back the blue and I'm not a back the blue home. But
we're in my makeup studio, so that was my business that I have. So that's where we are. But keep
oh, that's
going.
awesome. No, that was really it. I just feel like it's when you said, you were, and I'm paraphrasing, it's hard to use certain words without getting emotional about it because I feel the same way. There's been a few streams that I've been on, and I've almost been brought to tears when I have certain topics of discussion, or personally, if I'm not on camera and I'm just living my life and watching other streams, I am touched. Like one instance was specifically, I was watching I don't remember I guess it was the anniversary of the 3-year anniversary of the death of Officer John O'Keefe. And there was a standout, and I was watching Tom's CPU and Seeking Justice with Boston Mike, and they had gone through the standout. And then there was like a moment towards the end. I forget how many hours, it may have been 12-hour standout, whatever the duration of.
No, he did it 24.
Was it 24?
It was like the coldest ass night ever.
That's unbelievable.
Jessica, I believe it was. Chat, if I'm wrong, please correct me. I know you will. Hold on one second, Nan. Hey,
Yeah,
Franklin, can you please turn on the lights in the hallway in the kitchen? Thank you, love. So I yeah, keep going. No, it was, yeah.
I couldn't remember if it was 24 hours. And boy, am I glad I was not standing out there, because I was there last week in March and I froze my behind off. But at the end of it, they were standing around, pictures that someone had made, a memorial, so to speak, for him. And they were, Tom, or the stream was playing music, which I think they had to remove from the stream because of copyright issues.
Yeah, you usually have to do that. Yeah,
such a touching song, and then to hear, Tom get emotional, and those there were emotional, just to honor Officer John O'Keefe. Like I cried personally.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And that was before I entered this scene, which.
So that's interesting, because that's where I was going with this, is kind of like reversing the question on you, like how you found out about it, how you.
Yeah.
But
so
I'm
I follow.
Interrupt.
Oh, sorry, that's okay. So I was following the case loosely from 2022 onward, because I too am a big true crime fan. I don't even like to say it like that. I'm an avid true crime Adventist.
Follower.
Yeah,
follower. Like to follow the real events of what's going on out there. So
yeah, and I too was a watcher of Dateline and 48 Hours in 2020, and
girl, that's my love language.
Unsolved Mysteries, and for what it's worth, I can't speak to Unsolved Mysteries, but for the most part, the mainstream channel shows, like I just referenced, they tend to wrap these pretty comprehensive mysteries up with heavy editing and a happy ending, or at least an ending. And oftentimes, I would dare say the majority of those programs end with a conviction or an acquittal, but at least there's a resolution. I tended to gravitate away from them, and kind of veer more into true crime novels, and then true crime documentaries, and then just having that. I can't even say it was a hobby, but it was just more of an interest. And then I would just read articles about big cases over the years. And obviously I was like busy working, so I didn't spend a lot of time on this interest I had in true crime. And then I cannot remember the year, but whatever year the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial was.
God, 2022.
Was it? Yeah, I knew. I always mix up if it was 2022 or 2023. But once 2022 hit, and then that trial hit, which I'm really not big on pop culture either, but that was like a car accident that you couldn't walk. I could not turn away from it. And I do like Johnny Depp, but I really liked the trial because I liked the legal issues out of it. And I was watching that for some strange reason. I just went into YouTube, which I rarely used over the years, and I typed Depp v. Heard, and all of these content creators and law tubers popped up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huge fan of her, and The Lawyer You Know, and there were others. I cannot remember which ones, but I started following them. And that was a pop culture case. And though, as you know, Emily or EDB and Peter Tragos, they also follow, crimes, criminal cases. They follow, Emily is also very pop culture-y, but they follow all of these cases. And I started to grow an interest. And then once Court TV, I think it was Court TV, it might have been Law and Crime. Once those networks, which I also was watching on YouTube, started to pay more attention to the Karen Read case once Aidan Carney broke his news reporting, award-winning news reporting.
Award-winning journalist here.
Yeah, once that kind of that tide crested, and then the Court TVs, the Law and Crimes, more content creators kind of harvested and bloomed on that subject. I just soaked them all in. And I don't think I've watched much of like a Netflix movie or a Amazon Prime movie or anything since. I only have spent my spare time just absorbing information on the Karen Read case from all different sources, from mainstream media, including newspapers as well, to content creators. And I have found that I have gotten the most comprehensive, full spectrum, and full bodied information from the content creators. And then I won't say I'm addicted, because I'm not addicted to soaking it in, but I have such respect for these creators that I just, since knowing about the case in 22, then moving into 2023, when the Aidan Carney reporting started and the mainstream media started covering it, the content creators, and then moving all the way through trial 1.0. And then within the last few months, maybe the last 2 months, a lawyer from Texas, I don't know who she is, I'd have to look it up, but she made a donation to, I believe it was to the Karen Read Fund. I don't know. It might have been to Turtle.
That was you.
I'm the second that I know of. But
okay. All right. Sorry, continue.
No, but this one lawyer from Texas made a donation of her hourly rate.
Yeah.
And I cannot recall.
500? I believe I have a photograph.
It was higher than my, when I make donations, I donate my discounted hourly rate. I get a lot of flack online. People are like, you only charge $500 an hour. You must not be a good lawyer. And I'm like, I donated my discounted hourly rate. But nonetheless, once she did it, and it kind of hit Twitter and the social media, I was like, wait, I could do that. I know this case very, very well, and I know the law on the case, and I have criminal defense experience, and I deal with federal agencies. I have police law background. I have medical law background. This case was like a perfectly, it's just all tied up so neatly for me. So I donated, and I cannot remember. I think I threw a donation first to Karen Read. Then I threw a donation to Turtle Boy because I thought he was getting railroaded.
Yeah.
And then I started donating, whenever I think of it or want to, I donate to the creators just by surprise.
That's so nice.
Yeah. So like if I catch a live and I'm inspired by the content at the time and it feels right, I throw a donation just to inspire them. I want them to keep messaging, I don't even care if they keep messaging because they hope they get a surprise donation. I just want them to keep bringing attention to this important case.
It's so important.
And, it kind of snowballed from there. And then shortly after I did that, and I think Aidan brought it up on one of his shows, and he called up my website. I was like, oh my God, he is absolutely identifying me. I was absolutely petrified on a Saturday night that Aidan Carney named my name and showed my website and I panicked because that was not my intention. But within like a couple days after that, Mike Crawford from the Young Jerks reached out to me and he said, I try to get a lot of new guests with fresh ideas on my show. Would you like to come on? And I said, yeah, I do. Because I know how, I present for a living and I have a lot to say. And the rest is history. So everybody has just been nice to invite me. And I always tell people if I'm available, which this month, Lacey has been like unusually busy for me. But if you ever are in need of a visit, you just ask. And if I can, I
Yeah.
absolutely will.
Because I think it's important to remind people. I don't want to be all like gung ho and be like, oh, it's like mental health awareness, but in some cases, it is. When it comes to X and YouTube and the internet and true crime, and you just have to be cognizant of what you're dealing with. Like, you cannot rationalize with irrational people, y'all. Like,
Yes.
if someone doesn't want to talk, if someone doesn't want to be friends with you or talk to you, just stop. That's
It's
where
a hard lesson to learn. It
I,
is
I
hard.
really like it. Kind of broke my heart. Because I definitely I am who I present as. I love being friends with people. I'm like the most fucking loyal person out here. I I am trustworthy to a T. Um I am who I present myself as. And
Then we're gonna get along famously because those I believe in those values. And I've seen some artifice in some of the people that I've been dealing with. And I'm not referring to creators when I say that, but I had throughout that storyline that I just gave you, I had always, with rare exception, been very quiet and passive in chats. I would just be reading them, reading them, reading them. And frankly, I'm not that techie. I probably didn't even put it together that I could have entered the chat, but I didn't. And in some of the commentary in the fast flying chats on the larger channels, like
Emily's, yeah,
it's scary,
it's intense.
it's intense. Like you got to buckle up for that. And, there's a different, yeah, and by the way, if I ever like, if the stars align and I have to be looking at a fast flying chat like that,
Yeah,
I I will be absolutely like crippled the rest of the day if I did not think to put my reading glasses on because like that much intent flying and words and small little letters on my phone. The rest of the day, I'm like struggling to do my work at my computer because I did that to myself. But I enjoy looking at the chats because that's a very good indicator.
like, yeah, like telling where you're at. Yeah,
Yeah. It's also a way for me to get news.
for sure.
For example, Harmony in your chat just said a few moments ago, the donor who I was referring to is Amy
Amy Lott.
Lott, and I
Yeah,
believe that was correct.
I do
And
too.
and she refreshed my recollection, and now I'm like, yes, it was her. And it was that one little step that Amy Lott made, and by no means am I saying it was de minimis. She made that gesture, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to do this. And now, and it's certainly not because of me, more and more lawyers who had been following the case and may have been a little bit more neutral throughout it, are
Peter,
now
Peter.
coming. Maybe. Yeah, but like I respect that. I'm just not that way. Once I've seen what I need to see, my mind is made up. And now some of them are hopping off the fence. Although I'm getting criticism for claiming to be objective. And I tell everyone I never claim to be objective. Like I was objective in 2022. I was even objective in 2023 as I was.
I can appreciate that.
Yeah, like, and I think everyone should do that. Like this
Yeah.
woman in Lacey, have you seen Ms. McKinney on TikTok?
Oh, girl, I gained 100 followers in one night because I shared her video.
That's
And
amazing.
I woke up and I looked at my husband and I was like,
Wow.
I don't know what I did other than just share her video. Like,
It's it's so interesting because she's I mean, it appears, and at least being loosely discussed, that she's kind of approaching this neutrally and, with her level of snark and legal expertise, and just allowing she's watching 1.0. And as she's doing that, she's chronicling it on TikTok. And as it's coming to her as the true evidence of the Karen Reed experience is revealing itself,
yeah,
she's coming to realization that, and hitting points where she's like, okay, enough's enough. Like, how much am I going to have to see here before I firmly decide we're at a point where my mind is made up? Which, by the way, happened for your audience. That happens to jurors. Jurors
yeah,
absolutely are supposed to, I mean, technically approach trials without any bias and to keep an open mind. But as trials go on, mindsets start to get formed. So that's not improper, and we expect that as attorneys. But that's why, if everyone remembers, in the beginning of the opening statements of 1.0, David Yannetti said at some point, he said, wait for us, because it's really naturally understood that when you hear a prosecution's case in any criminal matter, it's really easy to start having your mind made up. But in this case, especially, it was important for them to wait. And maybe, I mean, I get it. They ended in a mistrial, which I think was fundamentally flawed. And I think the jury was not
right.
properly instructed and misguided. But in this particular case, with this fact pattern, it was extra important that they waited for the defense to hear, because this is the most unusual set of circumstances and just a perfect storm of facts that reasonably support a third party culprit defense, no matter who did it. I know it wasn't Karen Reed, but no matter who did it, and no matter if the defense knows who did it, they still have a valid and viable third party culprit defense. And I think this jury, if it had been better instructed,
Mm,
if it did get presented with better jury forms,
yeah,
if it verdict forms, that is, if they had gotten the guidance that the court, meaning the judge, should have given them. And also, I think if there were a little bit better closing arguments by both sides of attorneys to really spoon feed the process to the jury, and a better handling after what appeared to be a mistrial where they couldn't really
right.
pass aside their deeply held beliefs. If all of those things had been just tweaked ever so slightly, we might not be talking right
I
now.
don't think we would be. I don't think we would be. And just so you guys know, if I'm writing here, it's because she's pointing out things that I want to ask her. So
Oh, that's fine.
I'm not like um it-
Ignoring me?
no, I'm not ignoring you. Like, you're pointing out really valid points.
I'm
So
I'm giving you little breadcrumbs. And to Peter Sichel, yeah, I'll donate to your vacation fund. Wink.
so Peter is one of my fans who I met uh IRL in real life. Uh and he is hilarious. And he just asked, he said, "Hey Frankie, can I have some money?" He's been he knows my husband, so it's funny that he had the
That's
balls to
awesome.
ask you to donate to his vacation fund.
It's
But
so funny because, a lot of people don't really understand my unusual donation model.
yeah, I've
It's
been criticized over it too. I get it. I don't have the ability to just like make things and give it all to Karen Reed. Like,
yeah.
I
And
have I'm a capitalist as well. Like, screw you guys. Like,
and
what the hell?
and people will say things like, she's bankrupting her family, or,
Oh,
her husband know, and all of this stuff. And, you know, I'm a grown woman who can make a decision as to how I'd like to invest funds, and I do see this as an investment. So, I laugh at that kind of stuff, but then at the same time, you know, I think some people, and not you, Peter, some people begin to expect it, and it really is random. To me, I just say
Yeah.
if I'm feeling right, I'm going to do it. If I don't feel right about it, I don't do it. But the net result that I've experienced is just I get to see sheer joy on creators' faces, and then I know when I provide donations to Karen's fund and to Aiden's funds that that
Nathan and
money
Kelly.
it's
Yeah.
gonna go to good use.
Yeah.
And I also do it just to feel good. Like if I can help a little, I do, you know?
My husband hates it because when we go to the casino, I have the ability to, if I pull out a ticket for $1.20, and it'll ask me if I want to donate the rest, and I always say yes. I always say yes because I've said it on my ex account, y'all. I believe firmly in karma. I
Yeah.
don't think that we need to take matters into our own hands. I don't think we need to worry about people getting it what they're deserved. I believe that karma is a spiteful bitch. And
Oh, yeah.
I don't need to know. I trust it. I trust the process. I have faith. Um
I
but
believe in that too.
yeah, I always give my money to
I
charity.
do have limits though. You know what bothers me, and this may
Uh,
sound a little petty, but like when I travel, I've gone some places, and I'm sure your audience may experience this too when they go into different stores, but it's that kind of auto suggestion of a gratuity sometimes if you're paying with a debit card or credit card, and the
yes.
the service provider, you could be getting a cup of coffee. You could be getting, like, I was in the Bahamas last year, and I went to one of the kind of little commissaries, and I bought my son a little box of Fruit Loop cereal and a little container of milk. And they didn't prepare it. I grabbed it off the shelf in the refrigerator, and then I
Right.
pay for it, and they're like, it's going to ask you a question. And there's no reason, like, I'm certain, I mean, all evidence shows I'm not a cheap person, but there's
Yeah.
really no reason I should be tipping on that. And then to boot, in that experience, and this is not a solitary one, that little box of cereal was consumed by my son in about 30 seconds, and he said, "Mommy, can I have more?" And I said, "Of course." And I go up and I buy him another one and another milk. And this was literally 4 minutes after I just bought the first one, and the woman said, again, it's going to ask you a question. And at that point I just tipped her because
I
I
don't
do
know if
believe.
they're following me back to my room. So when I'm
Right.
on vacation, I legitimately you guys got me here. Like
Yeah.
I am the person that will donate $1. Like, Jesus,
It
please take the wheel. Like
Yeah, it's I mean, I'm so random with that stuff, but I think I think one of the things with tipping and donations,
I'm
etcetera,
not tipping.
in line with uh, you know, karma, is that
Right.
I feel that even giving insights on this case is a tip. Like, if I can help people feel a little bit more comfortable with some of the rulings and decisions, or because a lot of the followers, the Free Karen Reed supporters, they feel sometimes lost. They don't understand, how can a judge do
Absolutely.
this? How can this ruling be? Like I said before, I haven't read this denial from the federal court yet. People are going to ask me that. If I dare say, it's probably somewhere in my Twitter where someone tagged me and said, "What does this mean? What can she do?"
I
And
saw
I want
another
to
one
answer them.
too. I
Which
saw
one?
um okay, let me see it. Um
Did you say another one?
Memorandum in order on motion for a certificate of
Oh,
appealability. Um,
yeah.
did that come out earlier?
Not that I'm aware of.
No, I don't think so either.
So what they are, and I haven't read it, but typically they're to be read together. These two filings, which I haven't read, full disclaimer to your audience, you'll have a decision, which is the denial, which is the longer document. And then
Yeah.
this court issues also a certificate of appealability, which basically is a small little summation of the issues. They're giving Karen a gift. That's probably not the right word, but they're saying, here's what you can appeal if you want to appeal our decision.
No. It's like constructive criticism, but advice.
Yeah. So she and ultimate, and I'm looking at it right now, so I apologize for not looking at you.
No, please. I'm gonna keep talking, and I'm gonna write down
No
any more
problem.
questions I want to still ask.
So what this court does is it deny, I don't know its decision. I'm going to say outright I disagree with it because I think she should have won her appeal. But so in one document they've denied her appeal for whatever reasons, to be determined in the near future once I look at it. But then they also issue this certificate, so they're hand in hand, and the certificate is like her ticket to then further appeal this to a higher court. This could make its way all the way up to the Supreme Court of the United States.
I really hope it does. I really hope it does.
I do too.
And I typically I hate. I'm sorry, guys. If I'm like peeing on someone's fire, but like I don't normally support a lot of things that get there. I pick and choose my battles in life, and like judicially watching.
I'm the same way.
I have a lot of experience. My experience comes from politics and campaigns, and I think that's also hardened me to people like being shitty and like everyone thinking that they do have opinions, and everyone's opinions are valid, but once you start being obnoxious about it is when like you lose credibility with me, kind of what we were discussing earlier.
Right.
Yeah, so that'll be really interesting to hear your take on. And before I forget, were you at Atlantis in the Bahamas?
I was. Yeah.
Okay. Which building did you stay in?
I don't know if I want to answer that.
Okay, what month did you go?
I went in so I actually went 2 years in a row.
Okay.
And I'll tell you what months, but I went the second year because they offered me a free trip.
We have a free trip. That's why I'm trying to figure out where to stay. Like, where to stay and when to go.
We stayed the first time, it was really my second time going, but the first time I went recently, which was 2 years ago, we went in September, which is hurricane season, by the way.
I know. I got married during Hurricane Ian, and we got stuck in Jamaica for an extra 3 days at Sandals.
Ooh, well, yeah.
You said you're welcome.
Somebody called a wambulance. But no, seriously. We stayed in let's just say it was the main tower.
Okay. All right, cool.
And we went in September, and then the last year we went in November, which is also hurricane season.
Yes, it is.
If I had to pick, I would prefer September. If it matters to you.
I'm hoping the birthday fairy chooses to go in May.
Ooh. That is going to be hot. Cha-cha. Yeah.
Well, you know what? Getting married in Jamaica in September, I feel like I can handle just about anything at this point.
Oh, that's good. I mean, since I recently lost a lot of weight, I'm always freezing. Oh, good for you. I'm freezing all the time.
We don't all have to share it, but I went to the doctor's yesterday, and I'm down 69 pounds.
That's awesome.
So I feel so much better and ready for summer. finally
Oh, that's
for the
great.
first time, you know, like
And that's in recent months where this has
a
transpired?
year. It's
Yeah.
been a year of getting down to what I want to be, and I think uh, I mean it's been really really great. It's
Oh, that's nice.
not feeling so insecure, which I feel also has
Great.
helped me with the assholes, because like I know
Yep.
that I have a killer personality. I am sweet. I am nice. I'm forgiving. I'm graceful. Okay, not graceful. I give grace. I am not graceful. That is why my name is not Grace. It's Lace. But just having that confidence in myself has really helped immensely.
I
So,
agree.
congratulations.
Thank
Sorry.
you. No, that's okay. The trolls got wind of the fact that I had lost. Well, that's not true. The trolls, when I entered the scene, found pictures of me significantly fluffier. And they emailed me and sent my office
Fluffier.
letters threatening me, saying, either this, you're not who you say you are because we see these pictures of Nan Gallagher online, or we see these pictures and we're going to show everybody in the Free Karen Reed movement what you used to look like. Either way, I didn't care. I wasn't embarrassed. I lost 150 pounds.
Oh
And
man, that's incredible.
thank you. And I did it by changing my diet, exercising, like running regularly on the treadmill. And I was
Oh,
very, very distracted by and inspired by the Karen Reed case. So
exactly. I
I
believe
was running at night listening to content creators or watching Trial 1.0, and I lost, it took me a year, just shy of a year, maybe about a year. And I had lost all of it by last summer. And then at the end of last year, I put together like a little stupid photo montage of, look
I
what
need
I
to do that.
look what I did,
Yeah.
and I posted it right before New Year's. And I said, congratulations, or something to the effect of looking there's a lot of things that I will miss about 2024, but I will not miss the pounds. And I put together this montage. And once I started to get these threats from trolls, I said, forget it. I'm going to put it out there. And maybe it will, well, it's certainly going to neutralize the trolls because they're not going to have power over me. But at the same time, if it can inspire someone, maybe it will. And I did. I put it out on Twitter. I put it out on Facebook. I just put it out there, and like people started sharing it. And it did work because they didn't hold that against me anymore. And I feel stronger, more focused. Generally, I sleep better. Not last night. Last night was a rough night for me. I was up too late doing a brief, but just more balanced as a human being and ready to face my personal and professional life and this movement, which is by all accounts a second job for me now, which is
Isn't
fine.
that the truth? Isn't that the truth? Kind kind of going back to, uh, I think you answered this
Yeah.
with some of your some of the things you were saying before. But
Mhm.
what is Karen Reed the first case that you've been like has publicly
Yeah.
open? Okay.
And
And
publicly online. I mean, sorry to interrupt you, Lacey. Like
no,
I
please.
would I talk to a lot of people in person.
The cashier. I would tell the
Oh,
cashier.
yes. Yes. Like when I go to the grocery store for years, they, well, what are you watching now? What are you following? See, look at that. I want that. I
I
want that.
This is on my website because I'm a grifter.
Oh, nice.
So hashtag grifter club.
I
Um,
actually really like that bag.
I I created it. I create everything that I have on there. So I have actually had people ask me about Karen Reed, and
That's a really good idea, because people would never, other than the grocery store woman who would say, "What are you following now?" Like, for years, I will tell anyone who would listen about true crime, but no, this is the case that I became public, and unintentionally. Like, people think I'm out for YouTube fame. They're like, "You're gonna create a
ugh,
channel. You're gonna steal subscribers." I'm not creating a channel. Although honestly, I want it said here because I'm not techie. I think it could look like I might have a channel on YouTube, but all I was trying to do was set up a username, because I saw a couple people subscribe to it yesterday. I'm like, Shh, do I have a channel? I don't mean to have a channel. I just wanted to change my username a few weeks back. But I have no aspirations other than just trying to help people better understand complex legal issues. I have a feeling though that this won't be the only case that people want to talk to me about. And I don't mean that arrogantly. Like,
no,
I've had great conversations with Brian LTL about the
yes, Brian is great. Yeah,
Brian Koberger case and the Enrique Delgado Garcia case. And I've been following the uh, Lori Vallow Daybell. I followed
oh,
Alex
whoa.
Murdaugh. So anyone who wants to chat about these things, if I'm ever free, I'm always happy to hop on. So it's just been great.
I'm like so excited for the future, like once we
Mhm.
get Karen free, forever, we are, uh, I'm not going anywhere.
Good.
I always tell everyone, like, if you don't like me, you might as well block me now because I ain't going nowhere. Um, this is this is what I love.
That's
And
wonderful.
I'm very lucky to be in a position in life where I have um other jobs that help me so that I can do this. And I this has just become such a work of passion for me.
Gotta
And
do what you love.
I I'm very blessed to have a mom who is 75, yeah, 75, and she still works full time and she absolutely loves what she does.
Yep.
And I just don't think there's any excuse to go to work miserable. I think that there's something out there for everyone. I think that I believe in the value of we don't have to fight because there's enough people out there to like to consume your, whether it's creators battling against each other. There's enough people that will not like you that'll go to the other person's stream. There's enough people
Right.
that won't like them that'll come to your stream. Like, I don't take this shit personally.
That's
Like,
great.
and I think that I think that's an awesome thing that we've aligned on. So
Yeah,
I
that's wonderful. I mean, you have to do what you love. You spend your life, sun up till sundown. You got to do things that feed the spirit and reward you, not and keep you. You have to be able to keep a roof over your head, but also to sustain mental health and have
Yep,
work life balance, which I currently don't have work life balance, but that's
kiddos.
okay. Normally I do, and it'll calibrate again someday. But never worry about the others. You just kind of, I was saying to someone earlier, like, let them just worry about everybody else. Don't worry about everyone else. Just focus on you. And, I think after Karen is freed, which I firmly believe will happen, and Aiden Carney, which I never like him to get lost in discussions I
I
have.
don't either. I really wanted to make this a fundraiser. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, that's
I wanted to
okay.
make this an Aiden fundraiser. And then I got ill and things just went by super fast. But if you are interested in that, Nan,
Yeah.
because I feel like Aiden does get left out of the mix, and
Yes.
I feel very strongly, not weird in a weird way, but for like Aiden and Meredith and his story, and I am very pro First Amendment. I would love to do something like that with you if you
I'd
would
be happy
want
to.
to team up. Okay, it's official, you guys.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do a Aiden Free Turtle Boy fundraiser.
Yeah, because you've just mentioned all the things that I value so dear as well. And also, I had the opportunity to meet him in person last week, which
That was quite a night that you guys.
yeah, it was quite a night. But I was also completely not on my bingo card. Like I did not know when I went when I was invited up to Massachusetts that that I was going to have the opportunity to have dinner with Aiden and his lovely girlfriend Meredith and Lauren and Mazza. Didn't even think I was going to meet half of the content creators that I met, including James Jackson, and Brian LPL
and James Jackson. Oh my gosh,
and
I
the
love
Glare. Like it was and Tom CPU and Boston Mike and all of the mods. Like I had such a great time. And then I was presented with the unexpected opportunity, which I don't squander. It is because of Will the Glarer, who he was like, do you want to come to dinner with Aiden? And I was like, yes, yes, I do. I'm very much believe in his mission. And I think what's happening to him is so wrong on so many different levels. And then the next night, I happened to also be invited by Will the Glarer to have dinner with Mark Betterow, which was also amazing. None of that was.
You had a tweet that was like proof of life. Is that
Yeah.
see photographic memory, guys?
Yeah. Well, and I posted that one because it was proof of life because several hours had passed since Aiden's motion to dismiss hearing, which I personally did not make my way into that courtroom because the Glarer took the last seat. I went back up into the courtroom.
Oh, Will did? Okay.
I went up to Karen's motion, which was absolutely one of the most memorable moments of my life as a lawyer. I saw start to finish some of the best oral arguments that I've ever seen in my career made by Alan Jackson.
Yep.
And so I was in the morning and afternoon sessions for Karen's motion to dismiss. But so when we went to lunch with the Reed family, news broke right around then that an additional charge had been levied against Aiden for conduct that happened the night before, of which I can't discuss.
I understand, and that I knew that's what you meant.
Yeah.
And that went in our messages, and I wasn't going to bring it up, but
thank you.
Yeah, my window is everything. That is life.
Someday I will be discussing it, but right now I won't. But at the same time, several hours passed after that, and Twitter had run amok. Where's Will and Nan? No one's heard from them.
Oh my goodness.
This is going to be discussed in court the next day because that new charge was going to be discussed the following day, which I believe was a Thursday at noon. By then I was going to be gone. I found out Will was going to be gone. I didn't even know Will was going to Massachusetts. But ultimately hours had passed. I saw this kind of tizzy brewing on Twitter, which is a cesspool. And we were at dinner. I went to dinner with Mark Betterow, Will, and me. And Will said, let's take a picture. And I was like, okay. And I checked with Mark because I had met him for the first time that day. And it was earlier that day that I had asked Mark for a picture as well. I said, may I take a picture of us in court? And he said, yeah, take it. And I said, I'm going to post this picture. And he said, absolutely, post it. So at dinner, we just checked with Mark and Will said, let's have the waiter take a picture. And the waiter did. And I asked Mark, I said, is it okay if this is posted? And he said, absolutely. So, which I posted proof of life because people thought that perhaps law enforcement had taken me and Will into custody, which did not happen. But I had a wonderful dinner with Aiden and his girlfriend. And the next night with Mark Betterow.
I am proud to say that I knew of this trip. I knew of this trip. I can say that. And I didn't say anything.
Yeah, it was kind of like kept so under wraps. Thank you for that. Like, I know you were trying to schedule with me, and I'm like, I have the best reason not to schedule with you this
100%.
particular date. But the from the time Karen invited me up till the time I went was just a span of a few short days, and I had to readjust my schedule, which is not easy nowadays. Like, and this week has been horrible because I bumped everything from last week to this week. But when she asks you to come up to court, you go, you know, and
that's
I'm surprised she noticed. Like, I don't know how she knows who I am, which is so amazing to me.
Oh, it's because of the support. And I'm realizing that we only have 15 minutes left, and I'm like crushed. I'm crushed. So if while we have people here, if you are watching on X, please make sure to follow Nan Lawferio. It is spelled Lawferio. And I would appreciate a follow as well. It is LACEYJMEEKS. I was about to say M as in Mark, but I realized I'm not on the phone and you can lip read. That is my Twitter handle. And then both of us are I'm on YouTube. She can decide to give it if she wants. My YouTube is a very unfortunate name, but it's kind of funny. Lacey, Lacey on X, I think it is.
Man, you gotta uniformalize that. I'm Lawferio on all of my platforms, except Facebook has like a fan page or something, but whatever. I can't have a fan. So stupid, Lacey. I don't even want to have one, but people keep sending requests to my personal Facebook, and I'm not going to connect that way, but you know, it's just, but you know, it's great. I interrupted you. Did you complete your YouTube handle?
Lacey on X. That's why I said it's funny, because like I've never touched ecstasy in my life, and I really never thought about that when I was creating it. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna keep it because I am on X, like X, not ECTSACY. Whatever. Anyway,
I'd like to see Lacey on X. I'm intrigued. I think that's pretty funny.
How about you, Frank? You think that'd be funny?
No. That's amazing.
He won't even hang out with me if I drink a Long Island iced tea. He's
like, my goodness.
We'll be on the roof, you guys. Don't tempt fate. And Neil knows this. Anyways, so I really, oh my gosh, what am I going to ask you?
Let me see what that question is. Hold on one second, because you need to work on your font, because for us more elderly lawyers, I have to look into.
Yes, ma'am.
How many people, I Need Weekends, how many people could get in trouble for covering up lying? Who charges them? So if that's a great question, I Need Weekends. If we are to find out in the future that it is somehow discovered that people lied, or meaning perjured themselves, and there was a cover up. So to answer that part of your question, it really is a matter of determining how many people were involved. It clearly would be a conspiracy. There are different layers to a conspiracy. Who are the active participants? Who are the more passive ones? In this fact pattern, a lot of people who are opposed to the Free Karen Read movement often get caught up in the number of people who are involved in the story and say, there's no way the 13 people all knew and would have covered it up. And I actually don't believe that. And I'm using 13 as just an estimate. I don't believe that 13 people or so knew about it. I
don't
think
so.
I think that there was I believe there was an unintended killing in that house. There was probably an intended assault. And
That's what I think.
But, there are people who say, no, that it was intentional. He was lured to the home because of a variety of other, reasons. And that's fine. Like, I don't know. And that person doesn't know. What I do know is Karen didn't hit him with a car, and he wasn't hit by a car.
Bingo.
So I believe that the number of people who covered and are covering this up is actually probably very small. And what could happen to them if it's ultimately discovered?
3 to 5.
What, you think it's 3 or 5 people?
3 to 5.
3 to 5.
Yeah. I really don't. I don't share secrets because I've seen the game of telephone before, and so like I think it's a low amount of people, but then you have married people, and you have to think like, are they gonna not tell their spouse like, hey, this fucking happened, we need to update our shit, like in case things go south, like
Maybe. You know what's interesting? By the way, you know what's interesting? Unless I was wrong when I skimmed it before, and I always give people full disclosure if I'm unfamiliar with a document and haven't looked yet. But I haven't looked at social media recently today. I'm finding it curious that Allison McCabe was not on the Commonwealth's witness list.
Oh, now that you say that.
And I don't know what it means. It could have been, first of all, I could have missed it because I'm blind as a bat. Second, maybe there is a bunch of chatter on online media, which I have not looked at.
All I've seen is that Aiden and the Reeds are. And I even commented, I was like, that's all I took away from this as well. They're pathetic. And not to say that they are going to be called up, but potential witness list, which I think people need to, just so you guys know, like if you see names on there, does not mean 100% unequivocally that these people are going to be called as witnesses. This is a list that the defense can use to be like, okay, if this person is called up, how do we best prepare?
Yeah, no, I agree. That was a good observation for you. They have to name everybody, even if everybody they might call, so they don't waive WAIVE, so they don't waive the right to call them later. By the way, before I answer Peter's question, Kelly in your chat brought another person up. Officer Nicholas Barros, the Dighton police officer, is also not on the list. That's the officer who provided testimony in 1.0 that seemed to indicate that the tail light was cracked, but not completely broken.
Yes.
So,
wow.
These are kind of, by no means am I giving scoop, because I have a feeling if I were to look on Twitter right now, everyone's all over it. But these are notable to me, and it kind of made me think back to the question originally about the conspiracy and covering up, because I still just, in my mind, I don't know how small the list is or whose spouse told who what. I think in generality, if a crime is committed, whether it was intended or not, and there was a killing, whether it was intended or not, in general, the less people who know, the better. And I also firmly believe in the telephone game. So while only a few people probably knew he was in the house and knew something untoward happened,
participated.
I'm thinking in my mind that ultimately most of the people in that house probably didn't have any idea of what happened. And that's why there's these kind of scattered versions of events, if they're to be believed, about, well, I pulled in behind Karen and I then pulled up next to Karen, and she was in her car with her hands at 10 and 2, and the dome light was on, and she was by herself. Nobody saw a body. We all know nobody saw a body because the body wasn't there, at least in our side of this debate. So it's very interesting to watch. I just wanted to point out, I found it notable about the lack of Allison McCabe, and also, as Kelly brought out, the lack of, or omission of Nicholas Barrows. But as far as Peter's question is concerned,
what are the odds that Bev excludes a third-party defense line Hank is requesting?
I think that it is in this court, anything's possible. Right now, I think it's probably a 30% chance of being granted, meaning 30% chance that she excludes the third-party defense, the third-party culprit defense. 30% chance she excludes it. But I think two reasons why I'm more optimistic that she won't. One, the case law supports allowing it.
Yep.
And it,
whether we like it or not.
Right. And she allowed it in 1.0. So that is weighing in favor of her allowing the third party culprit defense. The other reason why I think she'll allow it is because if she doesn't, the blowback will be nuclear. We're all up in arms about, how do you let Mr. Crosby give testimony on dog bites? He's not a medical doctor. You completely screwed over Dr. Marie Russell. You made her come out here for 2 Daubert Lanigan hearings.
That was so offensive to my sensibilities.
Agreed. But we can all agree that the dog bites on the arm are kind of secondary to the issue. They're not what killed him. It's a tertiary type of issue here. But with all of that said, we're up in arms about that. Right. And if she were to prevent and exclude a third party culprit defense, the resounding outcry in the community of Free Karen Read supporters will absolutely deafen people. I also think she's, as Aiden does, afraid. She's not what I would call a courageous judge. I think she'd be afraid to do that, because if she removes the third party culprit defense, she's absolutely kneecapping Karen's due process rights, which are civil rights, by the way.
I agree entirely.
By the way, Harmony, one of your she's been in the chat since the beginning of this stream. You have the best chats. Like, I think you ask really great questions.
I love that. I've been showcasing them because I think that she is so great. One of the things that Kelly brought up, and I was thinking the same thing and waiting to bring it up, is that I think Aiden is on the list so that he won't be able to be in the courtroom during the trial. I mean, how freaking convenient for that.
Yeah.
Because he, as a witness, he would be a nightmare for Hank. So do we really think that Hank is going to risk that with Aiden?
I agree. I think he probably is on the list for that strategic reason. But also, the defense could ask for what's called a proffer. They can make a request for the Commonwealth to proffer what evidence they're looking to get from Aiden Carney. And there is, on the motions in limine that were filed on Monday, there is a proffer request from the Commonwealth to the defense. They want to know what the defense is going to ask of Michael Morrissey and the victim's advocate, Steve Nelson. So it's very common to ask for a proffer. What are you going to be asking? What types of topics are you going to be asking? Unfortunately, there are really specious and stupid reasons that Hank could give. If the judge says to Hank, Mr. Brennan, what are you looking to get from Mr. Carney into evidence? He can kind of spitball and be like, well, Your Honor, they're intricately tied. They had a prior connection. They had shared messages through signal or text messages about this case. And we want to be able to explore with him if the defendant ever made any admissions to him of guilt, just like he's been sniffing around these reporters for their notes. Now, you and I both know that Karen never admitted to killing John.
No.
She certainly didn't admit it to reporters, and she absolutely didn't admit it to Turtle Boy, a award-winning journalist in the community. But if Hank says that based on a proffer or makes that representation when this motion is argued in court next week, and just for you and your viewers, you can all anticipate oppositions to each of these motions and probably some type of proffer request on the witnesses list that came out today by Friday of this week. So everyone's Twitter is going to be popping off on Friday. But if the judge asks him, hey, what did you think? What do you need out of Aiden Carney? He can riff enough to convince her. And I do think it was strategically done in an attempt to keep Aiden out of the courtroom. I'm interested, as it occurs to me, tonight is, I think he does his members only. So at some point later.
That's why I always end before 9, because I think he's full time.
I think he's on at 9:30 tonight. Yes. I thought someone mentioned that, but yes, I think that's great. And I know you've been so gracious to accommodate my stop time today. But this is going to be one to watch, Lacey. And you ask such great questions, and your audience does too. And I'm always happy to come back and talk about the case. And also fundraiser. Yes. I was just checking to see if Harmony had a question there. He's going to give he's going to give stupid reasons, and she's going to pick up what he puts down. So, to all of you and your audience, thank you guys so much I feel like I got to say a little bit about myself today, which I don't really get to do much. So I feel it was very personable. I had a great time.
I told you, I was like, I never know where it's going to go. I don't know if it's going to be all business or party in the back, it varies, and I love it. I love it because it represents both myself and my guests. So
yeah,
I'm really excited to get with you to set up this fundraiser for Aiden.
I have some ideas. I'll communicate with you in back channels about maybe some simple ideas that I've been thinking about that, I don't know, maybe people might be interested in, that would draw some attention to the fundraiser. So I'll reach out to you and we can talk about it. Anything that I can do to help, always let me know. And especially anything I can do to help Karen Reed and Aiden in their fight, because it's not cheap dealing with lawyers. And I know it firsthand, it's somewhat of a thankless job, but there is a value to the services that they need. And, I feel so strongly in the First Amendment, and I'm willing to do anything I can to help support him.
Well, thank you so much, Nan. It has been an absolute pleasure. And to all of your fans here, yes, we ain't got no quit.
That's right. Hey, Nick Nack, how are you?
I'm so thankful that you guys are here. Guys, just follow her if you're here for me. Follow me if you're here for her, because we're going to start to collaborate on some things.
Absolutely.
And I hope you have a lovely evening, Nan. So if you want to say your goodbyes, or if you want to jet out, everything's cool. I'm just going to take it to 9 o'clock from here.
Oh, thank you so much. You take it to 9 o'clock. Everybody, you ain't got no quit. At least tell one friend who you don't think knows about this case. Try to find one, even if it's a stranger in the grocery store, and talk about the injustice. Because as I said on a recent stream, even the people who feel she's guilty, should believe that there needs to be more sufficient and robust evidence and process that has to be followed by a commonwealth. And if they're convinced she's guilty, they should absolutely be dissatisfied with the manner in which the evidence was obtained, the investigation was conducted, the court proceedings are going, the court rulings are being issued, down to even what I haven't read, the federal court decision today, which I'm not going to necessarily say it's wrong without reading it. So just tell someone who doesn't know about it, because this can grow exponentially and just keep showing up.
I agree. That was beautiful.
Bye, guys. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
I'll see you around social media.
Yes, we'll talk soon.
Take care. Bye.
Okay, so that was like exceptionally great. Hey everyone. I am surprised that I still have so many of you here. Hold on one second. I think my camera was a little bit blurry, but that's better. So yeah, like I said, my name is Lacey Meeks. I do this, well, Lacey Jane. I do this every Thursday night from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I have a group of really great people who support me by following me and listening to the shows every week, who have purchased through my website. It only says 5 sales, but I've made bulk purchases. So Nan was one of those. I forgot to say thank you to Nan. So thank you, Nan. But if you are just now tuning in, I encourage you to go back and at a later point go and watch the entire interview. It was I think it was a really good interview. I think Nan is a powerhouse, and I love that she's not afraid to use her voice to speak out on what she believes in. So I feel so blessed to have you guys here. I gotta show some of these comments that we're getting, because you guys are so good. You guys are so great. And as I said at the beginning of the show, as you will see, my YouTube is a little baby YouTube. But it's because I've always done X Spaces, and X Spaces has become extremely unreliable recently. I feel like Elon is really hard at work with Doge, that X is falling down the wayside a little bit, y'all. So I've been trying to multi-stream to both outlets, and that has been a change in and of itself. I apologize to everyone who watched last week with me and Video Jesus. Abby, she's actually one of my friends, who we were talking about visuals that she had up on the screen, and for some weird reason that StreamYard still hasn't, they messaged me back, but I didn't get the answer that I was looking for. It didn't show up. So I'm sorry, we look like we're talking over a black screen. If there is a way to fix that, I promise I will go about it. And trying to think of what else. Let's go ahead and, oh, well, I love to see this. Thank you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And you do have to start somewhere. I have been on X since 2008, and that's kind of the joke. That's why I have my whole name on there, because in 2008 I was like, oh, this is stupid. This is going to be the new MySpace. I'm not going to put too much time into it. Well, freaking joke's on me, you know? But as my husband and I always say, like, come to our house, fuck around and find out. So I also have to disclose that. RIP MySpace. I mean, we all miss you, Tom, but I recently had this conversation, Tom, my number one best friend. I know unequivocally so that Tom is living his best life. Like he came in hard. He set the precedent of like what it's like to do a social media platform, and he just went off into the distance. And like he is probably surfing twice a day, eating tacos on some like deserted island, and has hot babes at his disposal. You know, I rather think that he would be like a one and done, like committed guy, but he created friggin' MySpace. That's like what brought on YouTube, or not YouTube, Facebook. So I'm just saying. Yeah, tacos do sound good. Tom was always in my top 8. Love you, Tom. I have my 75th subscriber in here, Harmony. Thank you. I was at 50 last week, which is I was like, yay, 50, and it's so great. If you guys think you might recognize me, I was the 100th episode / 10,000 viewers guest in studio for the Las Vegas cops. So those, they are my boys, and we actually got Raiders tickets so kindly. Frank, do you want to like share that? He said we got Raiders tickets. So my man is a man of a few short words. I'm looking at. Okay, so I'm not a Raiders fan. I'm a Browns fan. My husband is a Squealers fan. And when we went to the Raiders game, I shit you not, y'all. It was incredible because it was the first time either of us have been in a dome stadium, which I'm very unhappy with the city of Cleveland for deciding to build, because half of the experience is catching like pneumonia and having a beer freeze in your hand where it's like a solid brick, and playing in the Muni lot. But the dome stadium was pretty badass. Oh my god, I have 101 subs, Frankie. 100. Woo, come here and give me a high five. Oh my god, he's such an asshole. He's playing some game. He's babysitting. All right. Thank you guys. Thank you, Nan, for getting me to my triple digits. Yes. Virtual high five. Virtual everything. And I am also a baseball girl. I lived in Cleveland, and we had season tickets to the Browns, Cavs, and Tribe. Yes, I still call them Cleveland Indians. And if you don't like that, get lost. You can probably unsubscribe right now. And still waiting on my national championship from the Browns. Probably gonna die before that happens. And by probably I mean like it is. I am. I have new guests on every Thursday, you guys. I love doing this. What I expressed to Nan at the beginning of the show tonight, that was the most authentic version of myself, which once again, my hips don't lie, neither do my lips. Um, I I am who I am. I'm not everyone's cup of tea, and I understand that. But um, we're on the number one platform of social media in the world. And by we, I mean us ex users. And there's just such a an ability to do good and to be good people and to spread positivity and trust. I am like, if you are my best friend, I'm like, oh my God, this person's such a fucking asshole. Like, I'm like that in real life, like as I am with you guys right now. But I'm not gonna go on the internet and say that sort of thing because you guys don't need to hear it. You guys hear that all the time from other people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need to be the one to report on that. And never, well, you know what? That used to be my thing when I was young, dumb, and just irresponsible and didn't take ownership for my actions. But then I grew up, and I appreciate you guys being on this journey with me. Like, um it has been incredible to come from 47 viewers last week to 101 subs, or you guys know what I meant, 47 subs. Because you guys, you got it. I love the person who said you got to start somewhere. And if it weren't for, like, I'm going to show you guys something, okay? You're going to get a little bit of a sneak peek. This is not for this business. This is for my other business. I am a hustler. I put myself out there. I am, once again, I'm not afraid. Um and I was when I started this. But whoever just said you had to start somewhere, it's kind of emotional for me, and I'm tying this up here in the next 3 minutes. I I could have never been successful in my business if I had just waited for the perfect moment. If I had waited until I had learned all the things. If I had just waited until I was everyone's friend, I would still be waiting. Um, the point is, just go in, throw yourself into it, do your best. And your best, you'll know your best internally. Like, you'll feel it. There are months that I walk away from my business and I'm like, holy shit, that was epic. And then there are moments where I'm like, I need to pick it up. I need to regain the traction that I had. And I I just want you to keep that in mind, whether it comes to a business idea. Um, I mean, a lot of times it comes on a napkin. A lot of times it's a conversation with a friend, and that's what this was to me. So everyone everyone has a voice, whether you literally don't, you do behind a keyboard. It's how you use your voice. And I hope that you guys will use your voice responsibly and be kind and recognize that it's not the end of the world if someone doesn't like your kind voice, if someone is just not that into you. Because yeah, we ain't got no quit. I ain't going fucking nowhere. My husband. Okay, well, I'm not going to repeat that. So if you need to, you can go back and listen to what he said. But I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. And I will announce who my guest is next Thursday on Monday. So keep an eye out on my X. That's where I announce things. If you are not on X, just be here next Thursday, 7 to 9 p.m. And I love you guys. Thank you so much, my new viewers. Yes. And I'm so humbled. So I gotta end this though. I want to thank the Academy, my mom, not my husband, my dad. Bye guys. I'll see you in Turtle Chats later if you are part of the club. If not, tbdailynews.com. Join in. And then I posted my my website earlier. So if you want to find me on Etsy, you can find me there. All right. Bye. Love you guys. See you next week.